This is probably the single biggest thing affecting Americans right now is the cost increase of almost everything going on right now. Take a look at this story here. This lady went to buy some furniture from IKEA that she bought previously about 2.5 years ago. She says, quote, "This is just another example of why it's so expensive to live in 2024. I needed to buy a new mattress for my kid, and so I went in my IKEA history to just click and reorder this mattress that I had gotten before. I ordered this in November 2021, about 2.5 years ago. I got a mattress and a dresser. The mattress was previously $179, and the dresser was $129. Remember that, because now the same mattress is $249. When they broke down the difference between the two prices, it came out to a 40% increase and the cost of for the cost of the mattress, and a 70% increase for the cost of the dresser. In just 2.5 years, a 40 and a 70% increase for the exact same items. You might think this is IKEA, but I'll get to this here in a second in a few more items here. It is $70 more or 40% increase than it was just 26 months ago. 2 years and 2 months. The dresser is now $90 more. It's $219, $220 if you add the 99 cents, 70% more. It's just another example of why it is so expensive to be an adult here in 2024. And this is not all. Americans' cost of living remains a massive headache even as recession fears fade. This is affecting average everyday Americans in a lot of different categories. The cost of childcare rose 13% in 2023 alone. It has rose 35% since 2019. I've seen a recent comment saying childcare is like $2,000 a month for childcare for an average family, which is wild. Here's an example. A 31-year-old registered nurse in Oakland, California has been dipping into savings just to get by. Her husband quit his job as a police officer to take care of their 9-month-old daughter and avoid paying $2,500 a month for daycare. Wow. Quote, "I feel like we're going to be 50 by the time we're able to buy a house. I feel like it's impossible to live the American dream like I watched my parents live in the 90s. Of course, housing being one of the major problems with interest rates here. If you secured a 30-year fixed mortgage on a $600,000 home, back when interest rates were low, under 3%, a 2.6 interest rate in 2021, you could actually get interest rates lower than that. But you have the same monthly mortgage payment as someone that just bought a $392,000 home at a 6.2% interest rate. Now, of course, we know that interest rates are higher than that now, over 7% on average. So a 6.2%, this is actually just an image I found here when I was searching. So this is, if you can't even find a 6.2% interest rate right now, really. So this is being very generous. So, but this gives you an idea here that now a $400,000 home actually cost you what a $600,000 home cost you just 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, just because of the interest rate. So you're actually paying equivalently, if that's a word, $200,000 more because of the interest rates. That's wild. And it's basically making things unaffordable for average everyday Americans. Another problem that Congress is actually trying to address, they've actually introduced a bill to try to stop it, called shrinkflation, is hurting consumer at the grocery store. A new bill aims to stop it. Shrinkflation, a term used to describe the practice of companies selling their products in similar packaging, but with less weight, volume, or quantity means the consumer pays the same price for less product. Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren is among those in support of Shrinkflation Prevention Act, which would expand the authority of regulators like the FTC and state attorney generals to open investigations into this deceptive marketing, they're calling it. For example, quote, that good old bag of Doritos, 5 chips may be now missing. The Oreos missing a couple of Oreos in there. The toilet paper is just a little shorter roll than it was before, and the consumer is paying the same, getting less, the Democrat explained. The Shrinkflation Prevention Act of 2024 was introduced this week. Senator Warren co-sponsored the legislation with U.S. Senator Bob Casey. I actually have a copy of it here saying, quote, greedflation, when corporations use shrinkflation as cover to raise prices and increase their own profits, has been a significant contributor to rising costs for American families over the past few years. While overall inflation rose by 14% from July 20 to July 2022, corporate profits actually grew by 74% over the same period, 5 times as fast as inflation. In fact, the Federal Reserve research shows that 41% of inflation over this time was due solely to larger corporate profit making. It's not uncommon for a company to try to increase profits by raising prices, but some companies found creative ways to make even more money by simply giving less to customers. Shrinkflation is the practice of companies reducing product size while maintaining the same retail price. The practice is essentially common among companies that sell consumer goods, like household paper products, cleaning products, snacks, and candy. As with inflation and greedflation, shrinkflation eats into the purchasing power of American families. Unfortunately for American families, popular purchasing categories like household paper products and snacks are most impacted, with about 10% of inflation being driven solely by shrinkflation. Today, household paper products like toilet paper and paper towels are almost 35% more expensive per unit than they were in 2019. Wow. Snacks like Oreos and Doritos have become 26.4% more expensive since 2019. Yeah, so when you're looking at household goods, this is stuff at the grocery store. This isn't even at stuff at like restaurants or something like that, right? At 26 to 35% more expensive just since the last few years, right? And then you're looking at stuff like IKEA, which is, somewhat cheap furniture and stuff. You build it yourself, right? And, that's 40 to 70% more expensive. You gotta kind of wonder here, what's the average person supposed to do? And then, you look at Congress and, they don't get anything done. You got Republicans and Democrats constantly fighting, and, they propose something, one side or the other. It doesn't really matter what side you're on, but, look at how much they've gotten done since the last midterm election. Diddly squat. If you can actually watch my last video here about the White House actually announcing something finally for the people. Again, if you've been watching my channel, here that, I'm more of, for the American people and not from either side. If you've been watching my channel for a long time, you know that. But, something's got to give, because the average everyday American is struggling big time. And the government and the Fed surely are not helping. So let me know your thoughts here in the comments. Don't forget to like this video. It helps out our channel. It's completely free to subscribe, so make sure to do that down below so you don't miss out on new videos. Click the bell icon after subscribing. Click here to see the White House's announcement they just made that'll help a lot of people. Or click here to see something really big for the government coming by March 11th. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.